Yeah. What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Lion's Den with Seth, and this is Big Herm. What's up, man? I see you in the background grooving, bro. What's up,
man? It's something about that. It's something about that music, man.
Trying to tell you, hey, you know what they say? When good music hits you, you feel no pain.
You know what I mean? Music is that universal language, ain't it?
It is, bro. It is. So what's popping, man? Speaking of that, this Sunday. Happy Resurrection Easter to everybody that's out there.
No doubt.
You know Sam. But speaking of that, no, did you happen to bring the house down literally by singing in the choir today?
I didn't sing today.
Thank God. Hold on. There it is.
Don't play with me, dog. Don't play with me. No, I didn't sing this Sunday, man. You know what I'm saying? I had to throttle back a little bit, and I said, I'm just going to sing with the men's choir. You know what I mean? Because church ain't all about me. You know what I mean? I got to make sure people know.
Wait. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, say that again. It ain't. Who is it about?
It's about the Lord. You know
for real? This
yeah. So I can't be on the stage all the time, man. You know, taking up all the Lord's air. You know what I mean? So I sat this one out, but man, we had a time at my church at J5 this Sunday, boy. Choir did a good job, man. How did you go to church today?
Man, you know what? I went for a minute, man. I was a little late because just dealing with a lot, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I said, you know what, I need to get out. You know what I'm saying? I need to get out and just do a lot more listening, than talking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just dealing with dealing with a lot. And with that being said, too, this is a timely show, man, because like some years ago, this is around the anniversary of my mother letting me know that she was sick.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it just gets real dark around this time. Consequently, around the same time as my birthday. So it's like bittersweet now every year. You know what I'm saying? But the good thing about this is that there's always some level of transcendence through grieving, you know what I mean, and a loss, right? But it's not necessarily a full loss, but it's just a different way of looking through, looking at life. So it's just going through that, man. That's
Right.
all.
Man, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's people deal with loss in different ways, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some people, it affects their whole rest of their life. You know what I'm saying? Some people deal with it. You never know what they're dealing with, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's crazy to me when people try to tell other people how they should deal with their own grief.
Bruh.
And
Ain't that
this,
about nothing? Say, like, look, just get over it.
yeah,
Really? Really?
yeah, I'm tired of hearing about it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's a great thing that we have this exceptional young
Yeah,
woman. I don't want to. Did I do the politically correct?
you did.
This exceptional
Hey,
person.
yeah, young person. That's
Okay, yeah, I don't know what you know what I'm saying.
you don't want them after you.
Yeah, boy. You know what I'm saying? But all jokes aside, man, when I first met Miss Treva Gordon, it was a while ago at the skating rink. She was doing an event there for loss.
Mhm.
That's the very first time I heard of loss. And I thought, man, this is a great idea right here.
Right.
Because, the people that's dealing with grief a lot of times are the ones that's forgotten about because we all going to be sad with you at the moment.
Mhm.
But if we didn't love that person, you know what I'm saying, like that, we move on, leaving you with you know what I'm saying, to grieve alone, right?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So what Ms. Treva did was built a support system for those in our community to come together, you know what I'm saying, to be like, hey, you don't have to act like the person that you love is forgotten.
That's it.
And when I met her, you know what I'm saying, and now she's still doing things, working with the community center to bring that fellowship into that facility.
Mhm.
So without any further ado, I would like to introduce the Lions Den family to Miss Treva Gordon.
There you go.
Hey, thank
What's
you.
going on? How you doing? How you
I
doing?
am great. I'm thankful to be here, Seth. Thank you for having me, Big Herm. Thank you both so much for what you do. And I'm so excited to talk about, even though it's loss, we're helping a lot of people. And that's what it's all about because grief
Right.
is something that it affects everyone. It can touch you at any time. And so we are here. We are that group. We're here for you and for support.
Love
Yeah.
that. Love that. And so it's a couple of things that Herman failed to mention, and I know that he's excited to get into this discussion, just like
Bam.
I am. But I
Bam.
mean, seriously, look, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Gordon is not only a TV producer, host, author, motivational speaker, mentor, entrepreneur. She is the founder of Lost. But you know what? She has something very, very unique and precious about herself, ladies and gentlemen. If you
Oh
don't
my God.
realize, hold on, look, there's a lot.
Oh,
Like she does a lot, and it comes from a different type of hustle. You understand, ladies and gentlemen? She is also from Detroit, Michigan, and the East
yay.
Side.
Yay.
Yeah.
What up, though?
What up, though? Yeah, I'm talking about. Hey, going there making change over there in Clarksville. Listen, somebody got to populate the spot and pop it up.
Yes.
But anyway,
Yes.
but thank you,
Thank
though.
you.
Thank you for being
Thank you,
on.
Seth. Yes.
But tell us a little bit about who you are outside of your organization right now. Let's bring it to
Okay.
who you are.
I tell you what, I always say I love God. That's the first thing because that's first most and it is important. But I am from Detroit. I'm a veteran. I served in the military. Uh, I have three wonderful children. I'm also a widow, and we'll get into that. Um, I'm a grad student. I'm working on my master's degree at this time, so I'm excited about that. I moved to Clarksville from Detroit, joined the military, and I came to Clarksville, Tennessee. And here I was blessed with so many opportunities. And I got into television, radio, a little bit of everything, acting, stage plays, productions. hosting events. It just goes on and on. I'm an author, a minister. So I love what I do. I love people. I love connecting with people. I've done groups with women, elevating them, the leading ladies, and also the magnificent men. We published several books together. So just doing my thing. I follow God as I always say. I follow the compass. My favorite scripture is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And one thing that people may not know about me is that I was in special education from the first through the sixth grade. I never thought I was smart enough, never thought I could do anything. I was the first in my family to go to college, graduate. Now I'm working on my master's and I'm chasing, running after get that PhD someday. So doing my thing. Thank you.
No doubt. No doubt. That's dope. Wait, look, let me ask. Are you an Aries too?
Cancer.
I was about to say, goodness gracious.
Still here, man.
I'm just saying, bro, kindred spirits. You know what I'm talking about? But go ahead, Herm. Go ahead, man.
First thing is, I'm tripping off of how they had you in special education classes. Like, I can't see that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even have to go there. So I like,
no, look, it's
6 years. 6 years. Same
you
teacher.
Know you needed to be Herm, but
no.
I can't see it. But anyway, let's move on to, let's talk about loss.
Okay.
Lending our share stories. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, look at me. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about loss a little bit. How you came to this. As you mentioned, you alluded to a little bit in your intro. You talked about being a widow. So let's bring it back to the very beginning about when that first happened to you, you know, and how you started handling that and how it led you to what you're doing right now currently.
Yes. All right. Here we go. So, I was married for 26 years to a wonderful, great man, a pastor, a loving husband, and Pastor Robert O. Gordon, my husband for 26 years. And he had a battle with cancer. And he passed away in 2019. And with that, it left me devastated, heartbroken, didn't know where to go, couldn't find a support group, couldn't stop the tears from coming. It's like my life was shattered. My therapist said, "How do you feel?" I said, "I feel like my life is just it's broken into a million pieces." My daddy would call and say, "How are you doing?" I said, "Daddy, I'm just so broken." And so I understand heartbreak. I've experienced it. It was the most devastating thing in my life because you take two people who are one, and then when that person is gone, it's like, who am I? So I struggle with identity. I was always Mrs. Gordon and Mrs. Robert Gordon and that person. And it's like when he passed, I didn't know who I was. So 4 months after, in within this period of 4 months, I found myself traveling a lot, not because I was just trying to go on vacation. I just felt like I had no place to go. I had all of this pain, and people know me as a community figure, but I was so hurting and I was broken. And so I would travel and I would meet strangers and I would say to them, "My husband died. I was so hurt." And the strangers gave me comfort. They would give me love. They would give me words of encouragement. And I just felt like they were my family and my friends. And so I took that back to my city and I started a support group because I couldn't find one. It's like, where do you go to talk about the loss of your loved one? And so I found out as I was sharing my story that others wanted to share their stories, whether it was a loss of a pet, it was going through a divorce, that's loss, health, that's loss. And they wanted an outlet, a place that they could go to express how they were feeling where you wouldn't be judged. We don't want opinions or advice, I'll say that. I just wanted to be listened to. I wanted people to hear my story. And so I found that community of people that would just say, "Hey, I'm not going to give you advice, but I'm going to listen." But what helped me get there is one day, God, while I was traveling, going everywhere, I mean, out of country, it didn't matter. I was going because I was broken. And one day, after being 4 months of just in and out, God said, "What is your truth?" And when I just shared it and gave it all to God, it's like He lifted the grief. The truth was that I was broken, I was hurt, I was devastated. I was angry even at God, but I felt like I couldn't say that to my Christian friends because they wouldn't understand. And so God said, "But you can give it to me." And I was able to take that hurt, even being angry with him. I was able to give that to him, and all he did was love me unconditionally through it. So what I want people to know about grief and loss is that, please take your time. It's not a sprint. take your time and be kind to yourself, and hopefully you have some good people around you. You don't have to understand, because you may never understand, but just be that listening ear for your friends and even for your family. So
Mm,
that's how I started Lost. So just meeting locally, more and more people were showing up. I was like, wow, I thought I was the only one who wanted to talk about my late husband, Robert, but people wanted to talk about their Aunt Mary, their cousin Bob,
Right.
their cat that they just lost. And so we had that in common. A loss is a loss. So I always say pain is pain, hurt is hurt, loss is loss.
yeah.
Seth,
What's
can you
up?
imagine that, dog? You being with somebody for 26 years, right?
Yeah.
And then you lose that person. And then, one of the first things people say, God has a plan, is God's will.
See,
I
yeah.
think that's the part that would get me the most is
Uh,
people say that this is supposed to happen.
yeah.
And I may believe that, what I'm saying, after a while,
After
but
the
you know what I'm
fact.
saying? But come on, you don't have to put that in my lap. Like, first of all, I already know that. Second of all, it still hurts like a mug. 26,
Bruh.
26 years?
Man, listen, bro. And you know what? I can say this. I've never experienced loss in that vein. However, losing my mother, that is an individual that I've never been without
Mhm.
my whole life, right? It wasn't okay, I'm meeting this person as an adult. This is every part of me, right? And so to just wrap my whole emotional self around thinking or understanding the fact that every day after that is going to be a day without her, right? So no matter what, so you're dealing with survival's guilt. You're dealing with how do I understand this? You're dealing with what people are saying and how I should go through this. I've never experienced this before. There isn't a manual to this. And so this question is for you, ma'am. Having that Christian worldview, okay, how were you able to see individuals from where they were, right? Because to the point you said, hey, it was people talking about their fish, their aunts, their uncles, but not everybody think the same way or have the same let's say religious background than you. How were you able to see them for where they were at?
I was able to see them because God allowed me to see myself in that moment. I was avoiding people. I was hurt. I was devastated. And in that, God gave me these five pillars because everyone is not a Christian. I received love from people who were not Christian. I received empathy and compassion for people that were Buddhists, people who were gay, people who were incarcerated. They would just say things like, I'm sorry for your loss. Like, let's get to the human side of it. So how I can relate to people is through the five pillars that God gave me, and it's love, empathy, compassion, kindness, and respect.
Mhm,
All things, it doesn't matter even which, but love, you have to have love. Empathy, put yourself in that person's shoes. Don't judge. Compassion, take some groceries over there, show some compassion. Kindness, say a kind word instead of saying be strong. Who am I being strong for? And respect, regardless if you like the person or whether you don't, have respect enough to just be kind to them and love them because they are hurting.
mhm.
We're people, we're all human at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
No doubt. And now we're going into the the birth of loss. Lending our shared stories.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how that began. Like I know you said that you came back to the city and you wanted to start something that we didn't have here, but you recognized there was a need. So tell us, as you was forming this together, did you run into any adversities or anything like that, or was it all all love and support? And how did the beginning of loss? When did loss start? What year did loss start? And how did the beginning of a loss go from your view?
Okay, so to be honest, loss started without a plan. There was no business plan. I know people say when they go into business, you start with a business plan. Well, I was broken, heartbroken, and all I knew is that I wanted to talk about Robert. That's all I cared about at that time. I just want to talk about my husband, and I've met people who wanted to talk about their loved one as well. So, God, I would say God, He created that space for people to come and share. It was met with some adversity because I think when you fall down or when you're down in a place, sometimes people don't expect you to get up. So there was talk and, how can, what is she doing? I don't understand. Why is she doing this? Well, I was doing it because I needed to heal. And lending our shared stories has given me and still gives me a place where I can come. My father just recently passed in January. And so this is a fresh loss. And so I thank God for my organization because it's like we get it and we're here for the long haul. And so I just want to be listened to. So it started October of 2019. And like I said, I believe I was met with opposition because people didn't understand, why are you doing this? Are you doing this to be? I didn't care about anything else. I was doing like, I had several businesses going at the time and things I was doing before my husband passed. But when life hit, it's like I didn't care about any of those things. I didn't want to do anything anymore. I didn't want to talk to anybody. The only thing I wanted to talk about was the loss of my spouse. And widowhood, it's a journey. It is. I had someone come to me, one person, they said, well, I see you're doing this, but I would handle it a different way. And I said, well, how would you handle it? Because you're still married and you have your spouse. So it's hard to tell a person what they would do if you've never experienced it. So we've experienced a lot of that. People judge, they say things, oh, why is she doing this? She must have a man. Didn't nobody, didn't have anybody. Just the things that people say. It's something.
It's so crazy that people will say whatever they can to bring down individuals
Man,
to make themselves seem larger. Oh, they got it figured out. So I already know why you're doing it, so it ain't that serious. But all that is doing is exposing their own fears, right? They're exposing their own insecurities. But first, let me do this though, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say shout out to everybody that's watching right now. What's going on? So shout out to Mr. Ford. He says losing a spouse is the worst pain I've ever had to endure. Hey, sorry for your loss, and also to Miss Gordon, sorry for your
Thank
recent
you.
loss.
absolutely.
You gonna say her?
Yeah, Mr. Ralph, please stick around, man. We're gonna give you opportunity to come on. Hopefully, you can come on and talk about it a little bit. You know what I mean? So,
Absolutely, because I
stick
was
around the
gonna
show.
absolutely because I was gonna go into that the next question. But I see
Oh,
Big
my
James
bad.
up here.
My bad.
Oh, it's all right. James said it's a time and a place for that kind of statement too, Herm. Sometimes people aren't ready to be strong in the moment. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't done so, please, please, please share this, right? Hey, Big Larry, what's going on? Yes, man. Thank you, bro. Thank you. So, hey, start drinking over there for me. You know what I mean? Celebrating. But that's
Oh, happy
what's up. That's
birthday.
what's up. Yeah, birthday Eve, right? I
Oh,
appreciate it. So here's my question though for you. Um, how did you connect with the widowers? You get what I'm saying? The brothers, the men out there that dealt with loss. How did you get them to open up, or were they just willing and felt just that open to have that transparent conversation? Because I know for me, it's different having a conversation with a woman versus other men, like-minded men. So how did you create that space that was inclusive, to men that may have a certain just give off a certain bravado, but they still want to, have a conversation?
right. We're still with as far as the men coming to loss. I think a lot of times men, it's hard for men to really open up because throughout life they've been told, not to cry or not to open up and share. So when they come, sometimes they're just very quiet and you can see it building. But I always like to just share my story. I always share my story. And I think when others go around and they share what they're feeling, it makes it easier for the men to open up. And we are a connected community. And so we have more men now coming to the organization, sharing their stories. And I love that. We want to highlight each and every one and let them know we are here. It doesn't matter if you've been married for 1 year, 5 days, 2 days, or 50 years or more, it's still hurtful and it's still painful and it cannot be compared. So we're just here to listen and let them know that we care. And once they feel that, they already know that they've experienced like what we've experienced, they're also experiencing, so we can connect. We have that, it's relatable. And so that's what draws them because it's like you understand. And I always say I may not understand because I was not married to your spouse, but I can relate. I try to
Very,
be very careful with I understand.
very
Even though they went through the similar, we both lost our spouses. I was not married to their spouse. So I can say I can relate because when I mean, I didn't eat, I was traveling, I was doing a lot of things. And I mean, I meet a lot of widows and widowers, and their stories are like the things that they did um, just to cope. People turn to drugs, people drink alcohol, people do things that I've heard the stories. I just spent a lot of money and travel, but they did a lot of things and there's no judgment zone. It's just people are just trying to cope with the loss of
That's
a
right.
mother, a loss of a father, a loss of a child.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. But
Mm.
they're coming in though. I thank God. We always say we're the club that nobody wants to join. Nobody's
Wow.
standing outside knocking on the door and say, "Hey, I want to be a part of that." Yeah,
Right.
but you may find yourself here. And if you find yourself here, then you have a group of people who will love you and we will cry with you. We will encourage you. Our motto is we rise from devastation to elevation. Our widows, some of them are going back to school, going to college. Some are getting married. Some are doing all kinds of things. They're elevating. And we want people to know that that dark cloud won't always be there. It's going to pass, and so we're here to see it pass and lift. Not that you get over it, but we help people to move forward. We help
Outstanding.
people to move forward.
Outstanding.
When I like see your meeting groups and stuff like that, I noticed that it's one of the most diverse group of individuals inside the room. Well, inside of one room. I mean, you have people ranging from like senior in age to very young in age. Uh, do you see value in that? Like, do you see like where the group is helping each other, you know what I'm saying, through their own experiences? Or is it just, we just want to hear each other? Or is it something that, folks are coming together like, hey, how can we actually help each other? And how does
Yes.
that happen?
Yes, it's when you share your truth. So I always ask people, what is your truth? And we start with that question. And when you share your truth, I always feel the answers will come. Like you may say, I'm just tired. I'm tired of this pain and I don't know what else to do, but that's just in your truth. And then they'll just say to themselves, I feel like the Holy Spirit is speaking to them and say, you know what? I need to get up and start working out again. It's like you're encouraging yourself because advice, if you give someone the wrong advice, they could go out, they may harm themselves, they may do something to hurt other
Right.
people. So, to protect our organization, anyhow, we don't give advice. And when I was going through, I
Mm.
didn't want advice. I didn't want people, how can you tell me what to do if you've not gone through this? How can you tell me? You've never experienced this, but how do you know? So I just say things like, I'm sorry for your loss. I learned to listen. They just want to talk it out. And when they talk it out in their truth, the answers come. I've never seen a person that didn't rise to get up from being in this organization. We have people, when they arrive at loss, they're at rock bottom. And then I see them rising. And it's okay if they stay at rock bottom for however long, we're going to be right there with them. And then we see some of them, they're flying like birds, and now they come back. They're like the trainers and the teachers, they're the agents of change, and they just share their story. So I thank God I'm not in the place where I used to be because just being in my truth. Always be in your truth. What is your truth? Get to that. And when you get to that, your answers will come. You know why you're doing what you're doing. You know why you're doing it. And for a long time, I sat in therapy for 2 years and I cried over Robert. Oh my gosh, I miss Robert. But then there was some other things. Robert was like the door that led me to other things and from childhood hurt. Because sometimes we think we're crying over Aunt Mary hurt you, but it could
Mhm.
be deeper than that. It could be something that happened, a childhood hurt that you never even
Yeah.
knew, but you got to get those things out. And so we're not therapists, we're not licensed professionals, but one thing we can do, we can listen. We're supportive agents of change. We're here to listen and we're going to be treat it's in confidence. So I always say, you can't share somebody's story. The healing is telling your own story. Like I'm sharing my story. Like Seth told me he's from Detroit. Hey, we're from Detroit. We share our stories. I can't share Herm's story. Herman has to share his story.
Mhm.
I can only share mine and tell the world what has happened to me, but also how I'm healing and how I'm moving forward as my husband would want me to move forward. I was stuck for a long time. A lot of people who go through grief and they have lost, they're stuck. We're here to help you get unstuck.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. You're absolutely right. And it's so crazy. I had a conversation earlier with someone talking about the three stages, right, of resilience. You have the activated event, and then you have how your mind or your body process it, right? And then you get to the recovery side, but you have to deal with it. You can't skip the steps, right? You have to really deal with it the best way that you can. And to your point, having that community, having that support system, that is outstanding.
Thank
So, um, do us a favor and tell us a little bit before you allow her to come on. Tell us a little bit about Miss Coach D.
Well, Coach D is a phenomenal woman. She's an author, a speaker, but she had a devastating loss. You know,
Mhm,
sometimes people come when they come to our organization, some of these people, they're like presidents, CEOs, people who have had much success. But then when you have that one loss, you're like, I don't know who I am. I don't
mhm,
know. I'm so devastated. So I didn't meet the Coach D that's like the author, the speaker, the minister. I met the Coach D who was in tears, the Coach D who couldn't get out of her car without crying. And today, you should see her today. She's just moving forward, and I love that. So she was married to her spouse for 31 years,
mm,
and that was her best friend. So just imagine that. And you know, we've been there. We She said, you know what? Loss is my group. Loss is my group, and I'm thankful to have her a part of our organization. As we have several, many widows. Man, we have loss in several states, and people hear about us all the time, and they write to us. We contact them. We have a greeting card ministry. We don't have to know you. Let us know if someone passed away. We'll send out a card all over the world. We do things like that. We have a 24/7 number that people can call, but you can go to our website because sometimes people want to talk and it's 1 o'clock in the morning and they feel like I have no one to talk to. So we're just here to listen. That's who we are.
wow, wow, wow. I like that. And listen, shout out to the person that asked, are we responding to questions? Absolutely. That's why we're here. If you didn't know, this is what we do here in the Lions Den. And also, too, shout out to Miss Lakeisha, another Detroit native. She says, 2 weeks ago, my neighbor died in his home after the emergency service left his wife, was all alone. All right. My husband and I were the only ones to comfort her. And I still can't believe how people go through
Oh,
grief alone. Thank you, Sis, for your great work. Work people need you. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, that's
thank
what it is.
you. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, that's what it is. Grief is not an easy
It's
subject.
not.
It's not an easy road to travel down. And the crazy part is, and her, we was talking about this before, but people go through it differently.
Yep.
So it's zero judgment. You can't tell a person, hey, well, all you gotta do is this, or you'll get over it and make it work, because it motivates, it can motivate you, but it can stifle you, right? It really truly can.
It
And if you don't
can.
get that support group, it's hard. What you think, Herb?
I think that people do that because, a lot of folks want to fix the problem.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But sometimes, there's no fix to this. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you say, the person that I just lost is not going to arise from the grave and come back to me.
that's
So
right.
you can't really fix this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's going to take me, you know what I'm saying, figuring out what the rest of my life is going to look like.
Yes.
And there's no no words of wisdom. You can't yoda your way through it. So it
Oh,
is what it is, right? You
yeah.
know, but Miss Treva, so we talked about now the beginning stages of loss and how you did face some adversity, and I really couldn't think, I really didn't think you would face adversity, but after hearing you talk, I was like, okay, yeah, I guess what I'm saying, no good deed goes unpunished, right? Well,
Yes.
anyway, fast forward now you're in the groove of loss. Tell us about some of the success stories that you've had, about how you've been able to help the community and what it's doing now, like the different things loss is able to do now. Like I said before, I know you had a skating event. I don't know if you're still doing that type stuff, but tell us a little bit about what's going on with loss and how you're advocating helping the community.
Yes, well, we have several ideas and things I like to do with my widows. For one, I mentioned to them at our last meeting, I like for us to put together a cookbook and bring ideas together, recipes, and publish that book as a fundraiser for loss. Also, some things we're working on, more chapters. We have a Utah. Can you believe Utah We will have a chapter in Utah, the state of Utah. I'm so very grateful. A woman who she lost a child several years ago when she came to my organization, and it has helped her tremendously. And I thank God that they go out and they want to get it going in their community. So I just see this going on and on until, the Lord returns. We're always going to have this organization. It's something that gives people hope. My ultimate goal is to have a television network, even if it's, doing starting out with a podcast just about grief. I want 24 hours of shared stories. I want people to turn the TV on, and if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you can hear Big Herm's story. You can hear Seth's story. I want to know, when I was going through, how did you get up? That's what this is about. And when you share your story, I'm looking for the rainbow. I'm looking for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Like, I understand that mother died and auntie died and husband died. I mean, I had tears this morning. I cried this morning. It's been 4 years. Sometimes things remind us. My husband's birthday is coming up in May, anniversaries. It's a lot that's going on. And so, this is something that is not, you just get over it. I think we think, it happens even in church. You say, well, Miss Mary's been coming to church for a year. She's over a husband now. Excuse me? We
Yeah.
listen,
Look,
we're still dealing with that. And
look,
then why do people say, this is the number one thing that people say as far as to me for a widow? Every time I turn around, God's gonna give you a husband.
wait, what?
What?
No.
Like, is that the word from the Lord when I'm not even
Yeah.
praying that? Like, and then I say to myself, I'm in my car and I'm angry with God again. And I'm saying, God, but what was wrong with the one that I had?
Mm.
Like, if you're gonna give me such a this is gonna be the greatest man of that you ever. Okay, but what I thought the one that I had was I'm
Right,
just saying,
right.
all respect. Or when someone lose a child, they say, God's gonna give you right now, it might not be
Yeah.
the time.
Oh
It's
my.
never the time. You know what I mean?
Thank
Yeah.
you.
What are you talking? Yeah.
I'm like, if God is handing out husbands everywhere, especially single women, they love to say, God's got a husband. I'm like, well, why don't you have one? And I'm not praying for that.
Hold
But,
on.
there's,
First of
come on
all,
now. Like, I
Look,
had a great husband for 26 years. That is not the one all fix all solution. Widows are over that. Like, you will annoy us with that. Like,
like you
please
just looking
stop.
for the replacement.
right. And
Like,
then
you know,
the crazy part is, hold on, it is another one coming for you. How do you know? And then who are you? I hate to say that though, right? Because people have good intention, and honestly, I feel as though when people say that, they don't know what to say, right? They don't know what to
That's
say,
right. They
but they don't
don't.
know they sounding stupid. See,
Thank you, Steph.
because
Thank
I'll
you.
say it for you. You're
Thank
sounding
you.
slow because
Yes.
if I've been with this person my whole life, my whole adult life, this is my everything. So what they're doing is they're trivializing your loss. It's okay. It's okay. God gonna
yeah.
give you another one. Wait, you see?
Yeah, we got a replacement on the way. You know what
Yeah,
I
it's
mean?
on
Like,
the way.
Like,
Yeah,
that's the fix all
yeah.
solution.
you know,
How
It's
about
on
God
their
just
way.
fix me? Just work on me, God. Just fix me. I'm good. And you
right.
have to understand that some people are just good. I'm not looking for a replacement. I
No.
wanted the one that I had. It was nothing to me, nothing wrong with him. It wasn't broken. It
You
was
know,
a great, it was like to death do us part. And that's what it
right.
was. There was no divorce. There was no nothing. It was, we were in it for the long haul, and we did that thing. We rode it till the wheels fell off of it. Like, meaning that I'm to death do us part. Sickness and health. People forget about their vows. I've been able to counsel married couples. God is using me in this area because y'all are over here fighting and bickering. Oh my God. If I had my husband, Lord, I'd be chasing him around the house. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? So love your spouse. Be thankful, because when they're gone, I'm gonna tell y'all gonna miss everything about them. I'm telling,
Right.
I don't care if they annoy you. Listen, that you're gonna miss that the most. You're hearing it from me. So love that man, love that woman. I'm telling you, and thank God for what you have, because
Mm.
when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
You know,
Hold on, Big Herm. Hold on. Hey, so look, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't done so already, hit the share button, and we're getting ready to give you that link so you can jump on. Okay. But again, hit the share button and all of that. But I also want to make sure we acknowledge this, ladies and gentlemen. She kind of went through this real quickly, but the loss organization is in multiple places already. okay, from Nashville to Detroit, and
Yes.
getting ready to do one in Hawaii. You get what I'm
Yes.
saying? So they're everywhere. She's growing. So shout out to you for that, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later on how individuals can support you. But go ahead, Herm.
Just a little bit about what we just talked about, because I know a few, a couple people that lost a spouse, and they went on to remarry, but they never stopped loving the person that passed. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you know that all that God's going to give you another one. Another one may come, you know what I'm saying? But it's never going to stop the hurt of losing that other person. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that's so if y'all out there listening, don't say that to nobody. That's a very insensitive thing to say. You know what I mean? Because
yes,
it's not like I scuffed my shoes and I'm about to go buy a new pair. You know what I mean?
And it's not the fix all answer. They just think that's going to fix it. You're going to stop crying because God's got another husband for you. I'm like,
yeah.
really?
And again, like you're sounding silly. First of all, who told you that? For real. You know what I'm saying?
I've had about 5 prophecies. I'm like, Lord, every time I turn around, there's another prophecy.
Hey, everywhere, ain't it? Look, just going out, passing out anointings. Hey, look
I
at
said, God handing out that many husbands. How come all these people single out here? He's just passing out husbands, husbands everywhere.
I guess some people don't want to receive their blessings. I don't know.
He's got a husband with your name on it.
With your name on it.
Yeah, bless it. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey,
check it.
Hey, you better be careful what you ask God for.
I'm trying to tell you.
Be prayerful. I'm telling you.
Hey, unless
I had a good one. I was blessed with a great one for 26 years. Listen.
Look, check this out. You mess around and get one, and ain't the one you want. You see, because you got one. Shout out to them out there that's looking in all the wrong places. You dig? Look, what Eddie say? Looking for love for Look, just because you want to say you got somebody, you know what I'm talking about?
Goodness.
I ain't lying. Yeah. My bad. Go ahead, Herb.
All right, so we're up and running now. We're spreading a whole lot of places now.
Yep.
So let's go deeper into the overall where you see loss. You know what I'm saying? Where you see loss heading. You know what I'm saying? And if there's ways for folks to get into it and help you out, you know what I mean? Like, what are you looking for as far as community support and support maybe in other communities?
Yeah, so we are a nonprofit 501c3 organization. I was able to get that done through my hurt. My God, it's amazing how God can use broken people. People say God can't use you when you're broken. I'm leading a group and I'm telling you it's a journey. And I'm transparent and they know just coming off the loss of my father, but we are a nonprofit 501c3 organization. So we thank God for donations that come in. We don't charge our widows. We don't charge the people that we're helping for support, but they can if they would like to now, once they receive the help, if they want to become agents of change. And what an agent of change is like you sow a monthly seed and it helps us to do the work that we're doing. We do home visits. We give out literature resources, provide them with resources and tools, and we have meeting spaces because we're blessed like they never have to come and pay for that. They come and experience, the power of our meetups. We meet once monthly in the city of Clarksville, but also we just added the senior center, so we're doing that every third Monday of the month. We're now a chapter at Austin Peay State University, a student chapter at Austin Peay State University, and our goal is to get onto campuses and just go all around the world. And Herm, you were saying, how do you get these people? Because we're so diverse. You know how? Because loss is loss, hurt is hurt, and pain is pain. There's no color when it comes to grief. That's something that affects us all. And so that's why, we have people who are very wealthy in loss, and we have people that don't have a dime. But guess what? They're all hurting. There's a room full of hurting people, and we're here for it. I don't ask people what do they do for a living. I don't care anymore. I just want to know, are you hurting?
Right. I love
Can we
that.
with that? Yeah.
I love that. You know what? I really love that because you have organizations that can do a lot of great work, but they're so isolated, or they're in these silos where you have to be something in order to be helped. Ain't that about nothing? Let me say this again for those in the back. See, there's organizations out there that make you feel as though hey, look, everything is here. We're really here to help you. But then they scrutinize what that help looks like, right? They look at you and say, well, I don't know, maybe you're not a good fit for this. So are you really trying to help? Really? Are you really trying to help? Are you really trying to help those that need it? But so what I want to go into real quick as we're talking about the community, how would you advise individuals that's listening right now, right? Outside, even if it's not a group with, the loss of a loved one, but how do you get individuals? Well, what would you encourage to advise individuals to get outside of themselves to look and to create their own tribe? Okay, because it started from somewhere within you, and then you started connecting and everything, and you had a plan. But what would you advise an individual to do if they have that same burning desire inside?
I mean, I'm always, if you have that desire, whether it's to help people, I would say share your story. Let people know there's so much power in your story, and you'd be surprised, how far that will take you. Just sharing my story. I met Big Herm. Sharing my story. I'm here on your show, Seth. Sharing my story, it gets you out of your box, being in my truth. People want to connect, they want to relate. And so when you get the word out about what you're doing, people will attach themselves to you. I don't care. Everyone has a story. I don't care if you were so broke. Hey, I was homeless at one time. I told y'all I was in special education. I'm telling you, God is through that door alone. God had opened so many doors for me to do acting and stage plays, writing books, and open the door for television, just sharing my story. And so I would encourage everyone, get to sharing your story. Come on this show, The Lion's Den with Seth. Share your story.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hold on a second. You do stage plays?
Wait a minute. Hold on. That's a setup. That's a setup. That is a setup.
You always hating, dog.
Hold
I'm
on.
trying to tell you, man.
No,
I just want one show where you don't hate on me. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I'm over here trying to share my story.
No.
I'm trying to share my story, get on the stage and look at you, dog.
I love to help you share your story.
Certain stages,
Let's talk
this
about
brother
that.
should not be on. Certain stages, this brother should not be on. Okay,
Hey, Treva, don't listen to him.
I would love to collab with you, Herman. We can share your story on a big stage.
See, listen, look, don't take the bait.
Oh, don't take the bait. Okay.
No, I'm trying to get out there.
No, you don't. You need to stay in there. Right? Close the door and the window. You understand? Trying to get on.
Hey, tell him, James, man.
I'm sorry.
No, we gonna do it, Treva. You know what I'm saying? Because I love the fact that even through grief, you never stop. You know what I mean? And I know that you talked about in the beginning. You was dealing with it, doing a whole bunch of traveling, going through your process.
Yes.
But now you're doing what this show is titled is Growing Through Grief.
Growing through grief.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Do you ever feel like it's a whole new Treva Gordon that has emerged through this grief? Like, are you the same person you was years ago? Let's talk about how you transformed into the person you are now. What changes do you see in yourself?
Well, I feel like for one, God changed my name. He gave me the name Beloved, because it's a long story with that. Maybe I have to share it another time, but a lot has changed. Some of the same friends I had, I don't have those same friends anymore. It's like life is just different. People expect for you after a loss to maybe return and be that same person, but I'm different. I'm more empathetic, have more patience. I have a better listening ear. I wasn't, even when I was married, my husband said, "You don't listen." Now I'm here to listen, and I want to know. I care about how people really feel. So it has changed me, I would say, for the better. And I got into spoken word, and I've been writing poetry. And if I can, I love to share a little bit with you guys. Called it's a poem that I wrote. I don't know if I can share it or not.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So one day I was feeling down, like a lot of people who feel down when they're, after a loss. And this was like 2 years. Actually, this was 3 years in, and I'm still on the floor crying oftentimes. And so I wrote this poem called "Ain't Nobody Coming Looking for Me" because I thought someone was going to call me and say, "Hey, girl, get up." But the phone never rang that day. Nobody came knocking on my door. So I wrote, "Ain't nobody coming looking for me." So it says, "I got to get up from here. I cannot stay here another day. sitting here drowning in my own tears, wishing all this pain would go away. Then I realized ain't nobody coming looking for me. Now I'm staring at this old brick wall that I built with my tears. Tears of anger, loneliness, fear, and depression have all set in because ain't nobody coming looking for me. So I need to get up. I need to get up. I don't want your pity. So why do I still lie here? So today I choose to rise. To rise is my decision because ain't nobody coming looking for me. Coming for me to rescue me, why sit here and die? So it's time for me to tell my friends depression, fear, anger, and loneliness to leave because you can no longer stay here. You are not welcome in my home anymore. It's time to tear down this old brick wall that I built. Yeah, I built it, I allowed it. But today, I burst out with new freedom, and I know that things won't be easy. So today is where I must begin. So I take back my life and I make a decision to rise, to stand bold and to conquer, to put one foot in front of the other because I can. I'm rise and make a decision to be free because ain't nobody coming looking for me.
You know, I love that. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for
Welcome.
sharing that. And I promise you that is how it feels. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how it feels. So we're talking about growing through grief. And that poem was so deep and not long, but very powerful because that's how you feel. So then
Yes.
therefore, what do you do? Because ain't nobody coming looking for me, right? What do you do? So wow, thank you. Thank you for that.
You gotta get up. You
You g
gotta, you gotta get up. I've got to get up from here. I can't stay in this place. And who's checking on me? After a while, we all know the phone calls, they stop.
Right.
After the funeral, listen, there was no one calling.
The show's over.
So what do? I got to get up from here. I can't stay here. So I got to make a decision to rise and to be free because ain't nobody coming looking for me. I mean, it's nice, but listen, there was nobody at certain time. There was nobody coming at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. You know, when they say, girl, I got your back, whatever you need, I'm here for you. Oh, those
Right.
calls stopped a long time ago.
Right. Hey, Mr. Ralph Ford, we do got the link posted, man. So if you want to come on and rap about loss of your spouse, you're more than welcome to. Now, that ain't nobody coming looking for me resonated with me, right? Um,
Mm,
reason why it's so for me, I had lost a strike. You know what I mean? That's a loss, right? I lost a
yes,
strike.
yes,
And I was very proud of my rank at the time. You know what I mean? It was and there was a lot of embarrassment that goes along with it. And you said that ain't nobody coming to look for me. It kind of reminded me of what my chief in the Air Force, we call Chief E9s, Sergeant Majors, we call ours Chief. My chief said to me, so what you gonna do? Are you gonna lay there and get beat like a dead horse, or are you gonna get up and run like the thoroughbred that you are?
See,
You know what I mean? So it's like,
yes.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? After a while, you got to get up and move. You know what I mean? After a while, you got to get up and do something because ain't nobody looking for you.
Mm-mm.
Ain't nobody. They're going to be there with you in the beginning for the show. There's the show, there's the funeral, and they're going to feel bad for you. But unfortunately, their life has to go on as well. They got their own families, they got their own lives. You know what I mean? So I don't fault them for doing what they got to do. You know what I mean? Because they can't feel the same way that I do, you know what I'm saying, when I lost my friend. You know what I'm saying? Or when you lose your spouse, when you lose anybody, because they don't feel the same way you do. They love you as a friend, but they can't stay there with you.
that's
So
right.
you got to do something.
That's right.
Yes.
Hey, Herm, help him out, man, with that link. I shared it. I'm not
Ah,
sure if he.
man, I
Yeah.
can't.
And
I
also
ain't got no mouse.
My friend D is here. I would love if she can come on and
Come
just
on.
talk about what loss has meant for her. She was married for 31 years.
Yes,
Come on,
Absolutely.
D.
please, have her come.
And I want to give a shout out to my family in Hawaii who's watching. I want to give a shout out to my family in Detroit for
There you
watching,
go.
and also Clarksville, everybody. Thank y'all so much. Thanks, Pastor Ralph Ford, for being on. Come on, D, Coach D.
Yo, appreciate it, Clint. What's going on, brother? And you know what, man? It makes a lot of sense too, man, because when you are hurting and people say that they're going to be there for you, sometimes they're going through their own hurt too. You know what I'm talking about?
So,
So they don't even have the emotional capacity to deal with yours all the time. So how you doing, ma'am?
Hello,
Hey, Miss
hello,
D.
hello. What's up, party people? It's your girl, Coach D. I'm in the house. That's what I say to the people before
No
That's what
they
doubt.
you.
love it.
What?
I am Dashayla Trammell,
Mhm.
Elder Dashayla Trammell, minister. I'm just a woman after God's own heart.
Okay.
And Treva, you did an excellent job. I'm so proud of you, sis. Um, Unfortunately, I've met Treva before, but we didn't know each other.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until this loss, I watched her for a year crying in front of my camera as she led loss. And then one day we were on TikTok and I was saying, "Yo, it's Coach D, it's your girl." And she was like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Treva, I'm right here in Clarksville." And we exchanged numbers and the rest is history. I'm so grateful for her. When she found me, I was just broken.
Okay.
Broken. Got married at 18. Don't know nothing else. Got married at 18 and lived my life with my husband for 31 years. We shared a room at the hospital together. We both had COVID. I
Mhm.
survived, he didn't. So I went through survivor's guilt. I still do at times. Um but I'm smiling today because there's more. There's more inside me that I need to birth. And so Treva is helping me from devastation to elevation
Yeah.
and has helped me so much. She doesn't even know, just her friendship, her kindness, and we're both at the same place. Robert passed away 2 years before Gregory passed away. I remember her starting loss. I'm like, that's not my group. No, that's not my group.
Okay.
And now loss is my group. There's lots of grief um programs out there online and different things of that nature. However, meeting I thought that loss was a bunch of old ladies. That ain't for me.
Okay.
That's not mine. But it's not. It's more than that. Some of them are older and they could teach us if
Mhm.
we will listen.
There you go.
um, Men and women are dealing with this. Unfortunately, that's what brought us together. But we are all just agents of change. Able to tell my story, able to without tears running down my face. A year ago, I couldn't do that. So I thank Laws for helping me. I am an author. Actually, the day that we buried my husband was supposed to be my book launch. I have not done the book launch yet. I will at some point. So many people don't even know that I wrote these books because that's not what my purpose was. With me having COVID, it destroyed my muscles. I had to learn how to walk again.
Mhm.
I had breathing issues, still have breathing issues.
Uh-huh.
I had to learn how to trust again. I
That's what.
had to learn how I went from a wheelchair, well, bedridden to a wheelchair to a walker, and now I use a cane. But I'm walking more and more without my cane. Treva and some other people encouraged me to start going to the gym. So I'm
Mhm.
going to the gym, something I never thought I would do. And so I'm grateful for
Outstanding.
um, my life has turned out to be.
Yes.
I want to read a poem. I did not write it, although I am a poet. It's almost like my husband wrote this from the grave. Right before, like the year before this happened in 2020, I had a birthday party called Code Red, and Red stands for Restoring Every Damaged Daughter. And I had all these women telling their testimonies. I had dancing, I had all kinds of stuff. And he pushed me to do that, but it's entitled My Wife. My spiritual daughter wrote this for his funeral, and it's like he wrote it himself. My virtuous woman, come from behind the scenes. God's people need to see and hear your voice. You are enough. Your code red. I was always next to you, pushing you into position for your purpose, for what I knew that God had has for you to do. My wife, God has smiled on me and said, "Welcome home, good and faithful servant." I have the best seat in the house to see you shine in the lives of others. Go forth in the Lord, my wife. As God has been my teacher, I your guide. Now your territories will forever be enlarged. We can conquer the world together, marking the world red. You are the co-captain now. I asked God to call me home instead of you. You have work for his kingdom to do, my wife. The delay has been broken. Now you have all access granted to sound a code red. Be the hope dealer to the village that hears the sound. I am proud of you. If if they ain't ready, they better get ready. Get ready, get ready, get ready. You are ready. I have transitioned. So now you have been shifted right in your rightful place from your position of being my wife to being the woman of God that I always knew you could be. My kids, the baton has been given down to your mother. I am not gone from your hearts. I just have a better view. Shine bright, my wife. I'm closer to you now than you think. I love you. You have been ready. You have been set, and now you have to go forth. My sweetheart, the love of my life, my everything, my wife.
Thank you.
No doubt.
That's outstanding. Thank you so much. Thank
Thank you. Thank you for
So,
having me.
no doubt. So we also have is it Pastor Ford, Mr. Ralph Ford. What do you like to be addressed by, sir?
You can just call me Ralph. I was
Ralph. Ralph
Ralph
is
before I
easy.
was a pastor.
Ralph is
So
fine.
are you in here in Clarksville as well?
Actually in Nashville, outside of Nashville in Hendersonville, Tennessee.
Okay, got you.
Mhm.
So I noticed in the chat that you talked about you had a loss of a spouse as well, right? Have you been a part of any of the lost groups?
No, I just found out about Lost recently, but I lost my wife to cancer. She was only 42. Uh,
Right.
it'll be 5 years in July. And I actually started to heal through what is called Grief Share. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's a support group, where we share, our experience and our strength and hope with each other. And so I attended that like 2 or 3 times because I was so broken. But now I'm facilitating it and I do it on my own and trying to help other people deal with loss. Yeah.
Got you.
Wow.
So Ralph, when it comes to loss, and we talked about men handle it different than women, right?
Yeah.
Uh, what is your experiences with that? You know what I'm saying? When we talk about trying to get men help and trying to get women help, do you have to approach that differently?
Well, it's difficult because, we're raised in a society, men don't cry, men don't share what they feel. And unfortunately, the truth of the matter is we have feelings just like anybody else does. We have to go through and learn how to navigate that. But it's tough. I have always in my groups, it's always more women than men, but the men are coming, and I think that, COVID probably changed a lot of that. People lost, had to deal with loss on a different spectrum, man. I mean, think about losing your loved one and you can't even be with them when they take their last breath. And and then when you're in the funeral home, nobody can come, and there's nobody there to comfort you. And so I think those things really catapulted us into men coming to the forefront a little bit more just to share their stories and get some help, man, because you can't do this by yourself. And I heard Seth say that earlier. You cannot do this alone. And I found that out real quick.
No doubt. Well, Mr. Ralph, we wish we had more time to get into your story, but I'm glad you was able to come on and share with us. All
Bless.
right.
Thank you.
You know, sorry for your loss. And
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that you found the outlet for yourself and for many others that you are now facilitating, doing great work with your community. Moving forward. So if there's any way, I'm here in Clarksville. So if there's any way that I ever could support you, look me up, Herman Brown. I work at the Kaliman Recreation Center. link up with me.
Okay.
But thank you for coming on, sir.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you, man. Thanks.
That's what's up.
All right. Miss Treva Gordon.
Yes,
What
I
can
tell
we
you, God is good.
what can
He's
we
good because I love that, we're reaching the widow community. Oftentimes we feel like we're that forgotten community.
Mhm,
But God
absolutely.
says, help the widows.
mhm.
Absolutely. And that's just something that you absolutely doing, that you turned your grief into something so powerful to where you're able to reach so many different people, not only in Clarksville, but different communities. And it's not going to stop there. I want to say thank you for coming on to our show, and sharing
Thank
your story with
you.
our audience.
Thank
I
you.
know that the people are listening got something out of this, and I hope that they reach out to you and find out how they could start one of theirs, a lost community inside in their communities. Let's pray on that and hope that happens.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for coming on to the show. People that are
Thank
listening,
you.
understand that the way you handle grief is the way that you handle grief. Nobody needs to tell you you'll get, say time heals all and all the other cliche words, right? Uh, for the most part, most of them mean well. They don't mean no harm or anything. They're just trying to find words to fix the problem and be a solution when they don't realize that there is no problem fixed. There's no band-aid, there's no quick tape or fix it glue, that magic words that they can say. So politely send them on their way, take their words. But if you one of those folks, stop doing that. We know that you love your friends, but if you got anything out of this show, just know that sometimes, well, most all times, all they need is a listening ear from you and some compassion. That's it. They don't need you to fix the problem.
That's right.
Thank you guys for watching.
Right on. So, one last word for you, ma'am. You have anything that you want to share with the audience?
Yes, definitely look us up. We love your support. We do 2 events for our widow community each year, besides retreats and things like that. We do things all year long, but each Valentine's Day, we host a luncheon and we pay for that. And we have the widows come out, we pull their chairs out, we treat them with royalty, the widows and the widowers, and we let them know because, I mean, you're like, my spouse isn't here. So we want them to know that we have not forgotten about you. Valentine's Day, we go out for that. And also we do a Christmas brunch and we just because their loved one is not here. So we invite them, we take care of all of the food, everything, again, pull the chair out. So these are the kinds of things that we're doing. And not only do we do it here, we're doing it in other states and in other cities. And we just want people to know that, just reach out and care. Reach out, let people know that you are here for them. Just because they don't talk about it doesn't mean that the hurt still isn't there. So let's all just love on people as God would have us to do. And thank you again, Seth and Herman, for allowing me to be on this wonderful show. Man, a voice for the widowed community and anyone dealing with loss. God bless you both. Thank you.
Miss Treva, where can they find you at? How would you like for them to connect with you? There you go.
Yay, there's the website. And of course, I'm on TikTok. I love doing my TikTok, Treva Gordon. I'm not on Facebook or Instagram right now, but Loss is. And so reach out to us there. We have people hitting us up on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And I'm so grateful, not grateful and excited about the grief, but I'm grateful that people know that we are support. And they reach out to us when they're at the most, like the rock bottom place. I thank God for allowing them to see loss because that's why we're here. I'm not
Outs-
here for start a book club. I'm not here to, help you sell 1 million books. But if you're dealing with grief, we're your group.
Outstanding. Thank you. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So look, here it is, and that's what it was. All right, this is the Lion's Den. This is what we do, right? It's more than just talking about things. This is what real leadership growth and development looks like, from individuals that's doing it within the household to out in the community. So my final word is this: a lot of times, a loss, after you wrap your mind around it, a lot of times a loss is an opportunity to help you to create something a little bit more, right? Sometimes that's a piece of you that needs to be energized, but you have to see it that way. You understand? Feel it, but then see more of it. You know why? Because you owe them. Think about it. Those individuals that have prayed over you, that has loved you throughout these years, is not over. You owe them and you owe you. So I encourage you all to keep loving, keep learning, keep living while you can, and keep watching the Lions Den. What? Yes. Now that needs to be on the stage. Can you dig it? Anyway. But ladies and gentlemen, no, seriously, real talk. Thank you, Miss Treva. We appreciate you being on. And Miss Coach D, we appreciate you all for being on. And we will see y'all when we see y'all. Right on. Later.